Hello everybody and assalamu alaikum. Okay, I have been gone a long while, and that is not because I want it to be. Part of the reason is because I lost my entire prompt list of over 100 items because I accidentally deleted it in the middle of the night while I was sleepy, thinking that I was deleting something else. That's number one. Number two is that I've moved rooms in my house, and so that took a lot of effort on my part because we painted the room first and then we moved my things in, and I moved my own bed, which is actually two beds, so I had to take it loose, move it to the next room, and then put it back together because I'm stubborn and I want to do it by myself. But that's neither here nor there. This profile or side view picture was brought to you by Artistic Freedom because before I watched her video on it, which I shall link below, I struggled with profiles. They either looked too boxy, or for lack of a better word, they looked very European, and that wasn't what I was going for. Obviously, I draw black people all the time, so it's not necessarily my aim to make them look of European descent. So let's get into talking about this picture itself, or drawing itself. This was the result of me listening to Kirby Jazz while I sketched, because the original prompt that I wrote was cool toned pearls with a warm toned skin color of either a lady or a young man with white clothing. I don't know what happened to the white clothing, but I know what happened. It never happened. That's what happened to the white clothing. So she's not wearing clothes, but I'm a-okay with it because there's a bit of a shoulder moment in this that I am absolutely living for. So much so that I added it to the carousel of pictures on Instagram because I just couldn't go without it. So I say this about all of my drawings, but I really like this picture. As you can see up at the top, I wrote notes for myself, which, if I could suggest anything to you guys, when you're trying to draw something, it's to write notes. Digitally, just write it on like another layer. But if your initial idea for something, if you're the type of person that forgets little details like I am, if you're doing something traditionally, write a note on your hand or on a little post-it next to whatever you're doing. If you're doing it digitally, just write it on an entirely different layer so it doesn't interfere with the drawing, because I truly do forget a lot of little details about my drawings initially. So writing notes is a really great way for me to keep track of what it is that I'm actually trying to achieve. I did still end up forgetting a couple of things while doing this, but that was less about the fact that I, was supposed to write a note about it, and more just I forgot to do it. So here I'm trying to draw like a string of pearls, which what I'm doing here is something that I learned in school, which is if you're gonna have any like background elements, like in this case would be pearls, but in most cases it's like something like hair or fabric, try to have it move through the composition so that it takes your eyes from one end of the composition to another, so that someone can fully look at all the details of your drawing instead of just focusing on one part, which when you're doing, well, this is not a figure drawing. When you're doing like bust drawings, typically people will just focus right in on the middle of the face, when that wasn't necessarily what I want to be the focal point of this drawing. I wanted the entire thing. I wanted to be seen as a whole, So there's your tip. There's your other tip. If you're drawing something with a background element, try to make sure that background element pulls your eye through the entire composition so that all of your drawing can be appreciated. No parts left behind. So here I did a color study. And I'll tell you what I left out of the drawing. I left out that highlight above the eyebrow in the drawing, but I've already posted it, so it's too late now. But yeah, so that's one thing that I left out. If you hear any voices, I don't know why I always say this. I live with people, so those are the voices that you hear. People. Here, all these little scratches across the face. When I initially rejoined the art world and started back, doing line work, my line style, I would sort of suggest a shadow by adding the little scratchy lines, and I want to get back to it because I actually really like that line art style. But I ended up erasing them because they just didn't work for what I was doing, or rather, I couldn't figure out how to make them work. Not that they didn't work, I just couldn't figure out how to make it work in this drawing. So, I don't think there's too much else that I want to talk about, but I'll mention some other things that aren't up yet, but will be coming up soon. The hair. I drew her hair the same texture as my own hair when I just basically let it dry on its own without styling it. It's got, I don't want to say a bit of a wave because my hair is curly. It's crinkly. Crinkly is the better word. My hair is very crinkly when I just wash it and then I let it dry. And that, her hair texture is sort of a copy of mine when I just let it dry and set in whatever position that it's in. Which, there's a beauty to it. And really, I actually truly like it. Like, if I didn't, cover my hair on a regular basis, I would probably let my hair dry in whatever way that it sits and just wear it out that way. But alas, that is not my life. What else? The baby hairs. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna get to the baby hairs like right now. Like right after these eyebrows, I'm gonna do the eyelashes, and after the eyelashes, I'm doing the baby hairs. Oh my god, them baby hairs. I love them so much. I typically, on myself, do not style my baby hairs. Baby hairs are not the same thing as edges. Fight me on it. But I typically don't style my baby hairs. And I typically don't really like the overly styled baby hair. I don't typically like that. However, in this particular instance, I wanted to do the swoopy doops. I needed to do the swoopy doops, and I did in fact do the swoopy doops. Normally there's like you just do like a regular swoop, but no, like I did like all of it, like the swoops, the swirls, all of that. Like think Betty Boop style type of hair. I did it all, and I freaking love it. Like I said, I don't typically like to make my characters very glamorous because I really do appreciate natural beauty in most instances. But this instance, I was like, no, gel them things down. So in essence, that is what I did. But I think here's the last thing that I'll say, and then I'll talk to you guys at the end of the video. My initial sort of color story that I was going for with this was that I wanted it to be very natural, very warm, right? Brown tones, and then the only contrasting tone was going to be the pearls, which were going to be a cool tone, and there was supposed to be another character in here. But as I said, I was listening to some music that gave me suggestions to add an entirely different color story to this, and this is what came out. Sort of a pink Vegeta type deal, but I ain't mad at it. I actually really like it. So that's all I have to say for now. I will see you guys at the end. Alrighty, and with that, I think I'm just about done. Um, I don't have too much to say. I'm gonna try to get back on with the videos. I'm in a pretty decent room now, but it's on the front of the house, so there are car noises that I